Hi everyone, this is Abel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the end of the year book tag. But before we start, remember that if you enjoy science fiction and fantasy books, especially space opera and epic fantasy books, this channel is the perfect place for you. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, consider subscribing, and maybe ring the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload something new. This tag has been created in 2018 by Ariel Bissett. I will link her channel down below. And since then, it has become some kind of a tradition for many book bloggers, booktuber, bookstagrammers. And it's because in December, at the end of November, beginning of December, everyone who's passionate about books begins to summarize how they did, reading-wise, during the rest of the year. So we start to ask ourselves, how did I do it? Have I been good? Have I been wrong? It was a good year. Was it a bad year? So everybody tries to do it around November. I wasn't able to do it in November because you may or may not know that I am actually a published author. I have published 8 science fiction and fantasy books. My 9th book comes out in December, in a couple of days, here in Italy. And of course, if you don't know about it, it's because they're not being published in English. That will change pretty soon, but that's not the point for today. The point is that I have been really busy during the last couple of months, so I'm doing it now. That's the way we roll it in this channel. Bear with me. This tag has 6 questions. The first one is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Yes, a lot of books, but one specifically I'm really close to finish. I think I will finish it in a couple of days, maybe, and it is River in the Galaxy by Natalie Calda. This is a science fantasy book that has an aesthetic that it is very much fantasy, but it has a few concepts that you will find only in science fiction, and it is a very interesting, very deep book with a very interesting character work. Natalie Calda is a very gifted author. The book is very enjoyable, but I will give you a proper review in the wrap-up for the month of December. I don't know if we'll be able to give you a wrap-up for December in January, or if I'll do a combined wrap-up for December and January together at the beginning of February. We'll see. But I'm really enjoying this book. I love the writing style. It is a very slow burn with very high stakes on a personal level and a very peculiar way to develop the plot. You'll see. I'm enjoying it. I will finish it pretty soon and I will tell you more pretty soon. Do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So you see why I'm late with this tag? But I have that kind of a transitional book. I don't have rereads, books that I usually read in autumn because of the vibes, because of the aesthetics. But you may know, if you've been following me for a couple of weeks or some months, that I'm reading Word of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. That book is huge. It's been with me for months. I am 800 pages in, I think. So I'm pretty close to the ending. I think that on Goodreads it says that I'm 78% in. And I'm approaching what everybody in the Sanderson followers community calls the Sanderlanche, when all this setup is going to culminate in a huge 200 long speed run to the end with a lot of action and a lot of plot twists and mind-blowing consequences to everything that has been happening during the book. So yeah, I feel it. I feel the atmosphere. I feel the vibes of a huge ending. And then now I am starting to understand, to properly understand why this book is so loved and why so many people are so deeply deeply involved in everything Cosmere related, everything Sanderson related. So yeah, I'm there. I'm finishing it. I'm hoping to finish this in December and start the next year with something new and fresh. Is there a new release you're still waiting for? No, I'm not that kind of a reader. I don't usually buy a book right when it comes out. It is because I have a huge back catalog of books I already have in my library that I still haven't read, or I have a back catalog of books from authors I like that I try to pick up maybe after many years. So it is pretty unusual to me for me to buy a book the moment it comes out. So there aren't any book in December that I'm pretty eager to buy, because even if some book from my favorite authors they come in December, I'm not likely to buy it in December. I'll probably buy them in January, February, and all the rest. And you have to know that in Europe, most of the pre-orders for books that come from American or British authors, they don't really work, especially in Italy. If I pre-order a book on Amazon, because that's the basic available way for us to buy a book from international authors, if I pre-order a book, Amazon will process the pre-order, will take the money, and then will cancel the order. It happens to me at least 4 times. And then it will say we weren't able to fulfill the orders, so you buy the order. We're sorry, it's been cancelled. Here on Amazon we try to make our customers happy and blah blah blah. So it doesn't work that way. The best scenario for me is to wait that the book comes out and then buy it regularly. If for some reason the order goes through, it will take weeks for me to get the books, and that's it. Because when they give you a special promotional price for a book on pre-order, it goes through a different distribution channel. The price will be different if you buy the books after it came out. It will usually be cost more after it's been regularly published. So they try to convince you to pre-order the book with a cheaper price, but then 99% of the time the order will not go through. So it doesn't work for me. I cannot pre-order books from authors that I enjoyed, even if I want to do it. I'm not that kind of person. Again, I changed my mind because of those bad experiences, so that's why. But in any case, I have too many books I want to read on my back catalog, on my physical bookshelves in my house here, or on my Kindle. But I am very, very eager to receive in my mail a book, because someone gifted me a book that I'm pretty eagerly anticipating, and it is The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. This is an Asian-inspired fantasy book, and it has this killer cover. It is amazing, especially the UK one, this one, which is slightly different from the original one from the US. And everybody that I've spoken to about this book has been incredibly enthusiastic about it. They say it is a masterpiece, it is incredibly funny, fast-paced, and very deep at the same time. So I'll read you a bit about the synopsis. I know very little about it on purpose because I don't want to spoil myself. It says, so many stories begin the same way, with a prophecy, a chosen one, and the inevitable quest to slay a villain, save a kingdom, and fulfill a grand destiny. But this is not that kind of story. It does begin with the prophecy, a child who rises to defeat the eternal Khan, a cruel, immortal god, and save the kingdom. And that prophecy did anoint a hero, Jean, raised since birth in luxury and splendor and celebrated before he has won a single battle. But that's when the story hits first twist. The prophecy is wrong. What follows is a story more wondrous than any prophecy could foresee, and with many unexpected heroes. Tashi, an older woman who is the greatest grandmaster of martial arts in the kingdom, but who taught her at the adventurous day, were all behind her. Sally, a straight-laced warrior who learns the rules may no longer apply when the leader to whom she pledged her life is gone, and Kisame, a chaotic assassin who takes a little too much pleasure in the kill, and John himself, who has to find a way to become what he no longer believes he can be, a hero after all. That sounds absolutely amazing. As you may know, I love classic fantasy books. I love tropes. I love the chosen one structure for a story. But this kind of twist, the fact that not only the prophecy is wrong, so moving the story around, making everything a little bit different, because that has been done. So toying around the idea of a chosen one which is not actually the chosen one, or stories that go and try to banish the idea of the chosen one, making it look like something bad. I've read something like that. But this spin is weird because of the idea that culturally someone decided that this chosen one had to be pampered for all of his life, trying to become that exactly chosen one, but that the actual chosen one doesn't believe in that, and it maybe has no desire to be that kind of chosen one. That makes it incredibly interesting for me. So many people have told me that this has many different kind of tones, expertly interwoven, that it has funny moments and very, very curated and particularly detailed action pieces, but some very hard-hitting and dramatic moments, and I'm all here for it. I can't wait to receive the book and to show it to you. I'll actually show it to you and unbox it on Instagram. So if you want, follow me on Instagram too. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? I'm cheating here too. I'll mention 4 books. The first one is The Return of the Knights by Gregory Contaxis, Paladin Unbound by Jeff Spite, and A Path of Blades by R.E. Sanders. Those 3 books are all high fantasy, epic fantasy. They all have very interesting covers. I'm shouting out the titles here just because I want you to be curious the same way I am, but I know very little about those books. I'm using the vocal narration by Alexa many times because it is a very easy way for me to consume books while I'm doing something else, doing chores, driving and working, and I find it's very, very useful, especially if you still don't have audiobooks for those books, because as I told you, it can be very expensive to produce audiobooks, especially for independently published authors. I'm very curious about those. They look amazing, and I have read only good things about those books. And the last one is Intrusion Protocols by B.R. Kite. This is a space opera techno thriller blend. It has a very nice cover, very, very good, very appealing, very cinematic. And it is about this. It says that technical specialist Kerry Severs is the best in CDF's controversial autonomous weapon division. That is the best one. He commands drones, a drone swarm with only his dogs, and thanks to an experimental neural implant and a cluster of lethal AI. But not even his skill can prepare him for this high-risk mission to rescue a deep-cover colonial intelligence operative. So I like the fact that it is putting a particular spin on space opera, because of course we have many stories about robots and AIs in science fiction and space opera, but this spin, I think it's a little bit different. I haven't ever read something like that. It could be a commentary on a way that actual modern warfare rounds goes around with drones, by controlling drones and striking from afar. And it could mix with it some kind of consideration about the modern state of AI. So I'm very curious, I'm very interested. I'll probably buy this on paperback because it looks absolutely amazing. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Yeah, I have an answer, Your Honor. And that book, it is The Way of Adan by Philip Chase that I am reading right now. That book is so good and so expertly written that I can't say it is a surprise. I expected it to be good because I've only heard good things about it. And a few very reliable booktubers and authors have said that this trilogy is pretty strong. So I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting to be this kind of good. This can be easily in my top 3 books of the years. Can it go to on top and become number 1? That's difficult. Because this year I already read something that I think it is untoppable for me, and that's A Queen's Command by Josiah Rosell, the second book in the Legend of Tol series. That book is so deep inside my heart that it will be difficult, and there is a particular aspect of the narration of The Way of Adan that it's been kind of a problem for me. It was just one scene, a very hard-hitting scene at the beginning of the book, let's say around the 30% of the book, or maybe a little bit before, that I thought it didn't work exactly perfectly, the way it was supposed to be working. So it left me a bit dumbstruck. But I'm still early in the process of enjoying this book, and I think this is a very serious contender for the throne, at least for the second place in my favorite book of the year, and it could go on top and become the best of the year. I just have to finish it, to read it all. But the way it is going, this is an incredible novel, well written, compellingly written, very professionally and profoundly put together. So I can't wait to give you more, to show you more, to upload a proper review, hopefully pretty soon. And lastly, the last question: have you already started making reading plans for 2023? Yes, I have plans. I'm not going too deep planning and mapping every month because I know it will not be possible. Next year will be pivotal for my career because I'm switching to an international market. I will stop publishing my books just in Italian. I will start publishing my books in American English, and I will tell you more about that. That will make me even more busy than I am now. But this booktube channel has been giving me that kind of a push to read even more and be even more consistent and being more involved in the booktube community, trying to be part of the publishing process of other authors, especially independently published authors. So I want to do better. I want to do more. So next year I'll try to read maybe 70% of my total read from independently published authors. I'll try to have a better balance between science fiction and fantasy books, because during last year I've definitely read more fantasy than science fiction. And it is not because I haven't found anything interesting, it just happened. But that's not good. I will try to be 50% fantasy, 50% science fiction, especially space opera, and maybe some science fantasy in between to even it up. And then I have a couple of series that I have started and I want to finish. The number one is the Legend of Told series, but I am reading the Famine Cycle from Josiah Rosal too. Then I'll try to start finally the Song of Chaos series by Michael R. Miller. And the most excited that I am compared to everything else, just mentioning new series that I know very little about it, but I'm very pumped about it, is The Wars of Light and Shadow by Gianni Wirtz. I've tried to start it at the end of during October and November, but there was no way. And it's not in no small part because I am so intimidated by that series. I kind of already know I will love it, but it is a 10 book series, a 10 very long, each one of them book series, very complex. So I'm kind of in the fence every time I find a little space to start it. I tell myself this will take so much time and so much effort that will basically wipe away all the rest of the slate of the books you would like to read. But I have to stop being scared by that series. I have to be mighty and courageous and start my journey in the Wars of Light and Shadow, and I will probably do it in January. That's all I've got for you this time. Thank you for staying with me. Remember that if you enjoy science fiction and fantasy books, this channel is the perfect place for you. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, consider subscribing, and maybe ring the notification bell so you will be notified every time I upload something new. I hope to see you soon in my next video. Bye!